How's it going, everybody? This is Andrews once again with another episode of Ark Survival Evolved. Scorched Earth. Okay. So what I'm gonna be doing is tonight I'm gonna be reading the Raia tablets, which is one of the one of the new survivors here on Scorched Earth. As you may know, there are explorer notes in each map, and each story map, I mean, which are the island, Scorched Earth, Aberration, and Extinction. I believe Genesis has them too. We're going to be reading one set of explorer notes, which are the Raia tablets. I believe Raia is an Egyptian priestess. I do not know much about the Egyptian pantheon, so I apologize in advance for any ignorance on my part. Let's see. Well, there's not really before I begin, I just want to point out that there's not really a whole lot here to do on Scorched Earth. I mean, we already got the artifacts. I didn't record the cave runs because we did them back to back to back. And I don't know, I just didn't have a mind to record them, but we were like, okay, let's get the artifacts now. Then we tamed the rock golem earlier. We've been doing some weapon hunting. So really, what I've been doing lately hasn't been video worthy. Hasn't been worthy for me to make videos, because I just didn't think the quality would be that good to begin with. Like, I had to be in the right mindset to make a video. But that said, I do promise I'm going to read the Explorer notes. And I will record the Manticore fight. Because after we do all that, we're going to be going to Aberration. So, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and if you like what you see, of course. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Let's see. Yep, I've already collected the Helena notes, and all I gotta find is the Dahkeya and Rockwell records. Right now we're gonna read the tablets and find out about this woman. So here we go. Entry number 1. Even at this distance, the great obelisk is beautiful. It is like a pillar of Amun-Ra's light, given solid form. I wish I could have made our camp right beside it, but the others thought that might draw unwanted attention. At least we are close enough to be in its shadow, and drink from the river that runs beneath it. I always face it and I pray to Hathor. And though I can feel the skepticism in my companions' gazes, my faith is unshaken. For it was my faith that guided us here, to this place rich with water and resources. All agreed that it is the ideal location for a settlement. Wherever we are, the gods are watching over us. I know it. As with all notes, they always start off good. High spirits. Construction has been going well. None of us are architects, but we have been adjusting to our roles. How do I pronounce that? Let's see. Apologies in advance. You know, I don't really know how to pronounce. I don't even really know the correct pronunciation for this, because there are words in the English language that start with GI, and they can be pronounced differently depending on what they are. Like there's girl, GIRL, and then we have, say, giant, GIANT, or giraffe, GIRAFFE. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to refer to this person as Jarisha. Jarisha's broad shoulders and booming laugh conceal a keen mind. And we started making better progress once I convinced him to stop hauling rocks and start drawing up plants. That let Amir focus on starting a garden, where he is more at home. I have focused on trying to keeping us organized and maintaining our spirits myself. I wish I could do more. Sadly, while a priestess has many gifts, manual labor is not one of them. I often find myself winded before midday. I pray that the others do not find me burdensome. Back in Lutzor, I always tried to stay out of politics. I never aspired to be divine adoratrice, as some priestesses did. I found that such selfish ambitions often led to suffering, both for oneself and for others. So when Jarisha referred to me as our leader today, I found myself surprised. I had never asked for such a position, and the others had never bestowed it on me in any official manner. It just happened naturally. I am not sure what to make of it, but if this is Hathor's will, then I will try to guide these people as best as I can. Alright, now it's time to move on to the next one. Entry number 4. Our settlement has grown so quickly during these hectic months. So many wandering souls have found their way here, seeking shelter and companionship. I have done my best to welcome everyone I can. If treated with understanding, most become productive, loyal members of our community. But I am no fool. I know that hearts can have two natures. Hathor offers compassion, while Sekhmet brings devastation. As we grow in size, we become a riper target for those with malice in their hearts. Jorisha has tried to organize a militia, but I fear it inadequate. For now I must be wary, and pray that the gods send us a true warrior. I'm gonna say this in advance. I may or may not know the chronological order, and I don't think I'm doing the right order of these. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep going with Raia. So here we go. It took longer than I had hoped, but the gods have heard my prayers. At least I believe so. When I imagined what a true warrior might be like, I cannot say that I imagined Captain Dahkeya. He speaks tersely, has no sense of decorum, and in general is rather prickly. He was nigh unapproachable for a whole day when we decided his position should be called captain, instead of the nonsense word he proposed. Yet he has been getting results, or so I am told. When I find time, I ought to observe him in action myself. I am still not accustomed to the loud, fiery weapons that our new captain is training his men to use. Their power is so destructive that it seems almost too much for any mortal man to possess. Yet Captain Dahkeya strolls up and down his line of trainees, like they are wielding wooden swords, and twirls his own weapon almost absent-mindedly. It is somewhat unnerving to find someone so calm around such potent instruments of death, but I suppose that is why he has had such success in securing our borders. I can only hope that we need but one Captain Dahkeya, and that I never have to use those weapons myself. You're kinda jinxing yourself there, lady. Alright everybody, I have returned. I had to deal with some trouble at the base, but it's all taken care of now. Now we go back to the tablets. It has been such a blessing to be able to spread Hathor's joy and love to so many people. At first my daily prayers garnered but a few curious observers. Yet soon observations turned to questions, and questions turned to participation. Now there are so many of us that we have even begun to construct a shrine. I truly wish that I could teach these eager new students all day long, but my duty to the village must come first. Perhaps when our future here is finally secured, I shall be able to live the life of a priestess again. But for now, I have too many people counting on me. I cannot abandon them. Okay, so they're settling up right now, and she's actually introducing people to her faith. Alright. Names are a curious thing. We assign them great weight, yet they do not change the substance of the person, place, or thing they belong to. I suppose that line of thinking is why I never dwelt on the name of our humble village. Yet now that it has grown to become somewhat less humble, our home can go nameless no longer. People must call it something. To that end, Nosti is as good a name as any. I am told it means to know in some old, important language, and whatever our citizens intended that to symbolize when they chose it, I know this: while we are here, we are under the protection of the gods. Lost souls from all across the desert continue to prostrate themselves before Nosti's gates. I adamantly refuse to turn away anyone that does not mean us any harm, but I realize that has left us with many mouths to feed. As a result, Nosti's fields are its most valuable asset. Fortunately, Jarisha's designs and my organization of labor and resources have once again proven effective. Not only did we implement an efficient irrigation system, but we have encased our crops in a large protective structure made of a clear, shiny substance called glass. Every morning it sparkles with Amun-Ra's light like a great gem, a beautiful reminder of what we can accomplish when we are united in purpose. Okay, so I guess glass wasn't a big thing back in their time period. I wonder how long something like glass or mirrors have existed, or maybe they were made artificially. I don't know. But they just learned to make greenhouse structures basically at this point. Despite our best efforts and the blessing of the gods, tragedy is unavoidable in these strange lands. Yesterday it struck Nosti once more in the form of a mantis attack, and while I cannot undo what had been done, I hope that I was able to bring some small comfort to those who knew the victims best. Though we lacked the resources to properly inter the dead in tombs, we still held a ceremony in their memory, and I made time to speak privately with anyone who wished to. Between that and my usual duties, I am physically and emotionally exhausted, but when my people are suffering, I cannot afford to rest. So in the end, she's a good woman. I mean, she is listening to everybody that comes to her because she knows that these people are counting on her. I mean, anybody can turn them down and say, please leave me alone, but I think it takes a true leader to do what she's doing. And there's still 20 tablets left to go. Early on, I handled all of Nosti's trade negotiations, and I have had trouble growing out of the habit. I suppose that is why the caravan or hunter that passes through our gates knows my name. Some still insist on speaking with me personally, but I do not mind. I find these dealings rather engaging. It is like playing a game of words. One such caravan arrived yesterday, bearing a haul of metal ingots. Our venerable captain has suggested that I bring a contingent of guards to the negotiations, but I would rather not. If our guests are intimidated, they may back out, and I would be remiss to waste such an opportunity. I shall gladly admit that I erred. I shall even admit that I owe Captain Dahkeya my life, and offer him all the gratitude he is due. Yet that does not excuse such merciless behavior. Those so-called merchants may have stooped to viciousness and cruelty by trying to kidnap me, but that one had surrendered. There was no need to execute him on the spot, was there? It is so hard to see where light ends and darkness begins in this violent place. Perhaps if I could adequately protect myself, we could have avoided needless bloodshed. Yes, I think it is time. I shall master these explosive weapons, and Captain Dahkeya is going to help me. Early on, she said she wasn't going to, but now she's saying that she has to. Step by step, I am learning how to shoot. During my first few lessons, the weapons almost jumped out of my hand when I fire them, but my arms have grown stronger and my aim truer. Captain Dahkeya's presence has been helpful. The same calm that I found unnerving from afar has been steadying from up close. He does not waste his breath on exaggerated praise or criticism. He simply keeps me focused on what I need to do, and everything else just falls away. Considering where I started, he has been very patient with me. Perhaps I should be more patient with him. In ancient times, gentle Hathor took the form of a fierce warrior goddess. In ancient times, gentle Hathor took the form of the fierce warrior goddess Sekhmet, and unleashed her wrath upon the human world. Yet even during her relentless slaughter, Hathor was within Sekhmet, as Sekhmet was always within Hathor. And when she eventually calmed, the peaceful goddess of joy and love returned. As it is with the goddess, so it is with mankind. The vicious can become kind, and the kind-hearted can become violent. For all his past transgressions, Captain Dahkeya is no different. He did not grasp Hathor and Sekhmet's tale when I told it to him the other day, but if he keeps trying to better himself, then perhaps one day he will. So, from what I understand, is that Hathor is a peaceful goddess. And she is, I guess, joy and love personified, at least in the Egyptian pantheon, while Sekhmet is more of a warrior goddess. So, I guess kind of like Aphrodite and Eris from the Greek myths. I guess so. And after this one, we'll be halfway there. In principle, I have turned into a competent marksman. Yet in practice, how would I fare? When the time comes, could I end another human life? I am not so sure. My mouth grows dry with fear at the very thought. The warrior spirit of Sekhmet surely resides somewhere within the recesses of my heart, but search as I may, I cannot find it. As training, I offered to put down some of our beasts that had grown deathly ill. It was a merciful act, but it still drew tears from my eyes and twisted my stomach into knots. I must learn to act in spite of these feelings. My life may depend on it one day. I honestly couldn't bring myself to do that. Even if it's a merciful act, I just wouldn't be able to do it. Despite my best efforts, I know that I have strayed from the teachings and customs that I learned so meticulously back home. Out of necessity, I have adapted it to both the needs of Hathor's new followers and the circumstances we all face in this desert. For example, celebrating the gods with feasts and festivals in their name would be wasteful. The sacrifice is particularly unfortunate, for my students deserve some sort of reward for their diligence. Perhaps I can still organize a modest celebration of some sort. In fact, maybe the whole village should have one, just to raise everyone's spirits. Maybe our venerable captain might enjoy that. But I asked for miracles. I trust our captain's judgment on matters of defense, but I still feel ill at the ease with his decision to sally against these mantises. It is not that he has left the village unprotected. Quite the contrary, I fear that his own contingent is too small. I know that I should not be concerned. He personally vouched for the caliber of his team, and I have more immediate priorities. Our walls and gates need repairs, our infirmary needs supplies, and our morale needs bolstering. I have been scrambling to and fro with such constant urgency that rings have formed beneath my eyes. Yet when I finally earn a moment's respite, I am restless with worry. She's worried about him. And his men. The people of Nosti come from so many different places, and they all have different ways of thinking. On occasion, this incites conflict. Several weeks ago, two newcomers came to blows over a long-standing feud between their home nations, and just the other day I had to harshly discipline one of my own disciples for harassing the villagers who worship the wooden cross. One time a man even challenged me to a duel for Nosti's leadership. Yet those same two people who engaged in fisticuffs now work to repair our western gate, and it is stronger for their combined efforts. Perhaps that is why the gods have brought us all here, to help us understand each other. So I guess there's people of all different backgrounds in this village. People who have been pulled across from time and space. At least from the looks of it. I mean, two people who are on opposing sides. There's a feud within their nations. Now, who could those be? I mean, that could be anybody. I know the wooden cross is talking about Christianity, and as for a duel, I don't know. That could have been colonial America when I guess duels were a little common. Number 19. For days I have prayed for both Hathor's compassion and Sekhmet's healing powers, and for days I have waited. I have faith that they heard me. When I first laid eyes on him, I thought for sure he was dead or dying, but the gods have not yet taken John Dahkeya away from me, so he came back injured from the mantis attack. My mind knows that I have other responsibilities to attend to, that I cannot afford to spend more time in this room. Yet I know that if I attempt to attend to my duties, my heart will interfere and I cannot neglect it. Not any longer. Ah. So she's in love with him. Without question, it was Hathor's divine will that sent me here, not only so I could spread her joy and compassion, but so I could understand her love. I thought I knew it before. I loved my family. I loved my fellow priestesses, and I love all those under my care here in Nosti. Yet only when I finally surrendered myself to it, when I let it rush over my body and carry me like the current of a great river, did I truly understand it. Only now can I claim to embody Hathor's teachings, thanks to John Dahkeya, this warrior from a distant time and place. And now, together, we can turn this desert into a paradise. Ah. So they basically banged. So I guess they were alone in the same room and things just happened, from what I understand. The mood in Nosti has been so jubilant lately that I think we may just hold a festival after all. And why not? We have plenty of cause to celebrate. But the mantis threat diminished, our scouts were able to establish an outpost in the north, where they discovered a wealth of thick, black oil seeping through cracks in the earth. Thanks to this bounty, we have been able to create amazing new tools and fill our storehouses to the brim. A festival would hardly make a dent. I am sure my beloved captain will disagree, ever the dutiful warrior. Unfortunately, I can be quite convincing where John Dahkeya is concerned, and for one day we deserve to supplant worry and duty with song and dance. As I watched Jarisha's team construct the curious bladed tower that is meant to harness the power of Shu's winds, I could not help but marvel at how far we have come. Oh, it's a wind turbine. Okay. In such a short time, Nosti has risen from nothing into a true city, with wonders that would make even the great pharaohs envious. For all its storms and monsters, the desert grows less threatening to us each day, and fewer people are forced to suffer and die by its hand. Perhaps one day no one will. If we can achieve that, then every hardship and every sacrifice we have endured will have been worth it. Over the last few days, the lights of the great obelisk have been pulsing with a rhythm and intensity that I have never seen before. It is a beautiful, soothing sight, particularly at night. It almost looks like they are singing a song to the stars above. Surely this is a sign of the gods' favor. Hathor is offering us her blessing. Another festival would be having another festival will be exorbitant, so I have organized a special round of ceremonies and prayers after dusk instead. Thus far they have gone wonderfully, and everyone has left with renewed faith and vigor. I wonder how long this display will last. Something's gonna happen. I mean, there's still a few tablets left. And that's it, a few tablets left. So, here we go. Okay. Sometimes I wonder how John can carry on, with no faith in a higher purpose or power, and eyes that see threats everywhere. Even when we are safe and secure, he insists on sleeping with a weapon at arm's length. It is no wonder that he suddenly believes the obelisks could be dangerous. Fortunately, I have enough faith for the both of us. I have faith that he will protect us from the flying lizards that have recently appeared. I have faith that the obelisk would never harm us, and I even have faith that I should forgive his constant prodding on the ladder. That final matter might require some additional effort on his part, however. He has been simply relentless about it. What did I do wrong? Despite every trial and tribulation, I kept my faith in Hathor, Amun-Ra, and all the gods. No, I did more than that. I gave them new followers. I built shrines for them and held ceremonies for them. So why? Why did the obelisk light up the sky and call down such a terrible doom upon my new home? Why would the gods tear the very earth asunder and send all that I have built and cherished tumbling into the abyss? Where did I betray them? Were it not for John, I would not even be able to ask such questions. I would just be some dead fool, whose last act would have been to beg for salvation from the very gods who have forsaken me. Here, there it is. My mind is filled with the dead. I see the smiling faces of my students, eager to learn. I hear Jerusha's laugh, deep and merry. I see the outstretched hand of John's trusted lieutenant as she fell into the darkness below. John tells me not to blame myself, that what happened was unpredictable. Yet how can I not feel guilty when I led so many to worship the instruments of our destruction, all the while promising to keep them safe? Somehow I must bury these emotions and focus on the present, as John does. If I cannot tear my mind away from what I have lost, I will lose all I have left. I cannot let that happen. I cannot let the gods take him too. I mean, that is actually sound advice, especially in moments of despair. You have to keep an eye on what's in front of you. You may dwell on the past, sure, but don't let it blind you to what's ahead. Wait a minute. Okay. I saw a body lying and I'm thinking, are we that far? Is this what's gonna happen now? You would have been proud of me. I controlled my breathing, just like you taught me, even with the tears streaming down my face. Even with all the hate and anger in my heart, I kept my arms steady and I killed them. I killed them all, John. So why have you abandoned me, too? You were the survivor, not I. These creatures should not have been enough to kill you. You were too strong. I need you too much. Please, come back to me. I need to hear your voice. I need to see you smile. Please. Please. Earlier she was talking about flying lizards, which I would assume are the wyverns. And I'm thinking, whatever's pictured here, they have wings. I mean, there's not that many flying creatures. I mean, moths are helpless. Tapaharas are moths are harmless, and so are the tapaharas. An Argentavis can easily be taken care of with a round of weapons, so I would assume it were dragons, wyverns. And now John's dead, and we only have 3 tablets left. When I found them, I wanted to smash them to bits. Those eggs were the spawn of the monsters. Those eggs were the spawn of the monsters that slew my beloved, and they did not deserve my pity. Yet I also knew they could help me. If I could raise these creatures as my own servants, then even those traitorous gods of mine could not strike me down. I have constructed a great bonfire to mimic the warmth provided by their mother, and gather milk from the mighties of the fallen beasts, so that I may feed them when they hatch. Hopefully it is enough. Oh. No, it will be. I will raise these creatures. I will master them, and I will survive. I promise you, John, I will live for the both of us. So did she slay an alpha wyvern? Because I've killed plenty of wyverns at this point, and whenever I harvested their bodies, none of them held milk. Only an alpha drops milk. An alpha wyvern drops milk when you kill them. So I am inclined to believe that she's grown. She's gone from someone who would almost drop her weapon when she fired it, to someone who could slay even an alpha wyvern on her own. And that is commendable. That is impressive. I bet you not many who are watching this video would do that. Especially if they were alone. They would probably use a turret tower or use other wyverns or something. I know, because I'm guilty of both. When the creatures first hatch, I dare not go near them without a weapon in hand, but by now we have grown accustomed to each other. I once heard that a newborn creature may identify the first living thing it sees as its parent. I believe that has occurred here. I have become a mother to monsters. So be it. The gods have forsaken me, and my love has been taken from me. So gone now is the Raia of old. Gone are the last vestiges of Hathor's joy and tranquility. Let my heart fill with Sekhmet's might and fury, and with monsters at my back and steel in my hands, let the desert know my breath. Never shall anyone take from me again, be it god, beast, or man. The final tablet. I have seen so much since we last spoke, John. There are secrets in this desert that you would never believe, dangers that would have paralyzed me with fear when we first met. But I am a different woman now. Would you recognize me still behind this black veil? Makes me wonder how many years have passed since she wrote that. I still find ways to help people, though not as I used to. I am no shepherd to the lost, no healer of wounded souls. Sometimes I simply defend the defenseless, or guide those few who seek the truth behind this cursed place. Perhaps one day someone will find the truth, strike down the false gods of this land, and at last grant me rest. Yet until that day comes, know that I will not falter. Know that I will carry on. That's the last of the Raia tablets. Boy. Like, where do I begin with this? So, Raia was an Egyptian priestess, and she had a few followers to begin with, a few people who helped her build the settlement. And before she knew it, she became their leader. And as the city continued to grow, she realized that it needed defenses. That's when John Dahkeya came in and trained her people with guns. Imagine just somebody from the future saying, "Here, take this. I'll teach you how to use this weapon from my time." Like, can you imagine just being given a plasma bolt, like right now? And somebody tells you, "Hey, that's, it looks like a gun, but it's actually handled differently. Here, I'll show you." I mean, I'm trying to put myself in that kind of perspective to understand what these people's thought processes were, because some of these people came from, everyone, from what I understand, came from different periods of time. Like, let's look back at the island. We have Mei Yin, who came from the Three Kingdoms era, which was in the first couple of centuries after death. And then we have Gaius Nerva, who came from the Roman Empire. We have Edmund Rockwell, who was an English chemist, who I assume was born somewhere in the 1800s or even the 1900s. And then we have Helena, who is a modern biologist. So just picture that, all these people, all these different backgrounds coming together in a settlement led by someone like Raia, who, even though believes differently than them, she cares for them. She wants what's best for them. And when something bad happens, she is there for any victims or friends of the victims who are no longer with them. And from the looks of it, the obelisks themselves have the power to destroy. The obelisks have the power to destroy, because it's probably why the mantises attack. It's probably why the wyverns showed up. It's definitely the reason why the earth split itself open. And if you would look at the mantis dossier, actually, let's go ahead and do that right now. The existence of the creature such as Empusa discipulus is both fascinating and frightening. Not only is Empusa the only recorded insect to have developed an imposable digit, allowing it to grip objects and use tools, but it possesses a level of intelligence that is unrivaled among non-human species. I have even found clear patterns in the sounds Empusa makes when communicating with its own kind, as though it is actually using some kind of dialect. I'll have to study these interactions in depth, but observing Empusa up close is extremely dangerous. Its size, intelligence, and ability to pounce on its prey from a great distance mean that one could be quickly swarmed and killed upon detection. Caution is recommended. Though a dangerous task, successfully taming Empusa can prove highly beneficial. Its unique claws allow it to wield melee weapons, like spears or pikes in battle, and use tools while harvesting resources. This makes it deadly as a mount or foot soldier, and highly efficient as a gatherer. And there you have it. The mantises, in short, they are intelligent creatures, and you can't tame them as you would any other creature. It's a passive tame, but you need deathworm horns from those. And from what I'm gathering here, it says that the deathworm horns are how do I put this? Like, deathworm horns are favored by creatures of the desert, by insects of the desert, I believe it says. So I can imagine a mantis in its own twisted way saying, "Hey, if this person is feeding me a body part that belongs to one of the biggest predators in this land, maybe I should go join them," or maybe something like that. It's what I think is what they're probably thinking, because from what I understand, these mantises were attacking the settlement, and it got to the point where John Dahkeya got injured when he took a small contingent of men to was presumably their nest. I mean, he almost died, and he was probably one of the few that came back alive. And then we have the wyverns who have attacked, and then the obelisks split the earth wide open. So what I'm thinking is that the obelisks themselves have the power to destroy civilization, and I think that's what happened here. Like, Raia herself was saying that the settlement was advancing, that the city was advancing. Like, they came from nothing, and they upgraded to greenhouses, wind turbines, and they even found an oil vein, so I assume they constructed oil pumps as well. And what I think the obelisks do is that they destroy any civilization that grows too big. Boy, like there's a lot to gather from this, really, and it is a sad, tragic story with Raia as the only survivor. But you know, I think what she wrote at the end is kind of the developer's way of foreshadowing things. She was saying that somebody will find the truth, and once that happens, Raia can finally rest in peace, or something like that. So you know, who could this somebody be? So far, Helena has been more or less the main character in this adventure. Her and Mei Yin, anyway. And unfortunately, there are no Mei Yin notes in this and on this map. There's only 4 people, which are Rockwell, Helena, John Dahkeya, and Raia. So I think what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna hunt for the Dahkeya notes and read them as I have done right now. So I believe this is gonna be the end. That's it for the video. These are my comments and my summary. If you like what you see so far, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You'll see that I played other games, and there are in every game that you'll see on my uploads, I haven't completed yet, and I will get around to finishing them. So anyway, thanks for watching. This is Andres signing out and wishing you all a good night.